Okay, so now we're kind of moving topics to like when you lived in Greenfield, and you said that you lived here since 1954. And you and great grandma decided that you wanted to foster children. How did you decide to do this?
Well, uh, when we moved here in '54, we already had a boy and a girl. The girl was about 5, and the boy was about. We had 3 kids. One was just a baby. One was 5, maybe 3, and then just a tot. And then, most naturally, at that time, I really didn't. Uh, my income wasn't that great, but I was working. I was working. I was self-employed a little bit, and then I also was working for my brother-in-law. By this time, that chef, being a chef, he went into business with a couple other guys, and then I wound up tending bar for him a little bit. And then I was self-employed a little bit. I was selling, and then uh,
What were you selling when you were
wait a minute,
self-employed?
before I moved, before I'm 54, before I moved here, about a year before that, I went. 3 years before that, I went to the gas company.
Mm-hmm.
They were hiring, and I went to work for the gas company. Although we had a pretty good income, it wasn't that great. And my wife, I was fortunate to have a beautiful wife that was kind of money conscious, knew how to handle money, but she wanted a little more income. So she decided to, because uh, you know, she was going to be a housewife, but we didn't want her to go to work and have somebody else take care of the kids. So she decided that she wanted to take in foster children, which we did for about 2 or 3 years.
Do you remember like what you got for having foster children, like the money, or what else did you get?
No, I don't know exactly the money because uh, uh, we were as a couple, we were very fortunate because I wasn't as money conscious as her, but we could complement each other.
Mm-hmm.
I was very good at repairing. She was very good at keeping a house, and she was very good with what do you call that when you do with what you got and you're able to move on. So she thought she'd have a little bit of an extra income, and then we went into this foster children.
Um, so when you worked for the gas company, was there any like bad working conditions, or did you like your job there?
That going to the gas company wound up to be an excellent job because I wound up being a serviceman, and most naturally, that gas company was, I would say, it was more like a family job, meaning that I was part of the company, and being a serviceman, you're away from the. It isn't like if you would be in an assembly line or something like that, and you're almost like your own job when you're out on the field, and it wound up to be an excellent type of job, interesting. Plus the fact that the gas company was, I would say, made you feel like family, and it was very good working conditions.
Do you have any like stories about one place or like something you fixed at the gas company?
Yes, I do. Uh, Most naturally, when you're working for the gas company, you would get a lot of complaints about leaks. Okay, and uh, I remember one job that I went on. It was almost quitting time, and they dispatched me an odor a job regarding like a gas leak or an odor leak or whatever it is, and I went out to the county institutions, and when the when the tenant, when I first got there, she was very. I could see she was kind of upset, but she says, "Can you smell that?" And I just didn't even get in the door yet, and I said, "Yeah, it smells like." You want me to go into the details? It smells like when you buy a new appliance, and then it kind of oily smells. And she said, well, she get her heat and all that is delivered to her from underground because this is the county institutions, and they have a big complex, and then they were supplying the heat for her. And evidently, when I went in the basement to check and see if it would be it didn't smell like gas, but it had that type of odor that I just described, and I'm checking along the walls, and they had instrument panels, and yeah, I could smell it, but I couldn't put my finger on it. But this was like on a Monday, and she says, you know, we had Friday we had the fire department here, and we had I think some other people in there, and they couldn't find where the source was. So by now I felt that, you know, I just couldn't figure it out where it was, but I have to, when I leave there, I got to make sure it's safe. And dealing with natural gas, sometimes natural gas, if it gets filtered through the ground, it'll lose the ability to smell. So we used to carry a piece of equipment that we could test the air if it would be like it would register on that instrument. And then you have to check like the drains might be coming up through the drains and all that. Because then when I leave there, I know that it isn't where it would be like an explosion or hazardous. And when I got over by the water heater, it smelled a little stronger. So now I look up and I see that water heater and it looks a little oily on there. And I put my nose there and I thought, oh, that's it. And the exhaust on that water heater, it's got a baffle on it so air can go out, and then but it can't come back in from the chimney. And a squirrel went down that chimney into that exhaust pipe, and it couldn't go any further because of that baffle, and it was cooking there. And that was what I thought was